My daughter, you were innocent. You were pure. You had a good heart. But the world was wicked. They tricked you. They took you. They killed you like an animal. My child, do not sleep. Do not rest. I, your mother, command you to rise. Rise. Hunt them. Find them. Kill them. Do not spare anyone. Do not forgive. Do not have mercy, my daughter. Kill them. Let their blood flow as yours flowed. Let them know that a mother's curse is a fire that never dies. My daughter, take your revenge so that you can rest in peace.
The city of Abuja was a land of dreams where the rich lived in luxury and the poor struggled to survive. Sandra had always believed she would make it here. She had fought too hard, prayed too much, and worked too long to give up now. Born and raised in Benue, Sandra was the first daughter in a family of 5. Her parents were simple farmers who worked tirelessly to provide for their children, but life had never been easy. She grew up seeing her mother return from the farm with cracked feet, her father's hands calloused from endless labor. Yet, despite their struggles, her parents never stopped encouraging her to chase a better future. Determined to break the cycle of poverty, Sandra threw herself into her studies. She attended a public secondary school, reading with a candlelight when there was no electricity, waking up at dawn to fetch water before school. Her brilliance and perseverance earned her a place at the university. Life was not easy. She worked part-time in a local restaurant, saving every naira she could. Many times she went to bed hungry, but she refused to let hardship define her destiny. After graduation, reality hit her hard. The job market was tough with no connection or wealthy background. She submitted countless applications but received no response. Months turned into years. She moved in with a friend, sharing an apartment at a small city in Abuja, while she continued her job hunt. Then one day, her prayers were answered. A financial consulting firm called her for an interview. The competition was fierce, but Sandra stood out with her intelligence and determination. When she got the job, she cried. It wasn't actually her dream job, but it was a start towards a better life. It was a late evening when Sandra's life took a turn. She didn't understand it at that time. She had closed from work, exhausted but grateful. As she walked down the street to get a taxi, she noticed an old woman sitting by the roadside. The woman looked pale, dressed in a faded wrapper, her hands trembling slightly as she extended them for alms. Sandra's heart ached for her without thinking twice. She reached into her bag and dropped some money into the woman's lap. The old woman's wrinkled face lit up with a strange smile. She looked at Sandra with eyes that held wisdom beyond years. "My daughter, may the heavens bless you," the woman said in hoarse voice, but faint voice. Then suddenly, her expression turned serious. "But listen to me. Listen to me carefully. Beware of men who will come into your life with sweet words, promising you marriage. Some will not mean well. Pray for the spirit of discernment, my child, or your kindness may lead you to your doom." Sandra froze, staring at the woman in confusion. What do you mean, Mama? She asked, a chill running down her spine. The woman simply shook her head and said, You will understand when the time comes. Just be careful of men. A gust of wind blew, and for a brief moment it seemed as if the woman's figure shimmered. And just like that moment was gone. She forced a smile. Thank you, Mama. God bless you, she said. The woman only nodded. Sandra left there immediately. She dismissed the word as the ramblings of an old beggar. After all, why would anyone want to deceive her? She wasn't rich. She wasn't desperate. She had worked hard to get where she was. And when the right man comes, she will know. But was she being foolish? Was she wasting her youth waiting for a breakthrough that might never come? Those thoughts lingered in her mind as she sat across from Olivia, her best friend, in their favorite Mama Put restaurant, picking at her plate of jollof rice. Olivia, ever lively one, was halfway through her meal, talking excitedly about a new business idea. Sandra, however, had other things on her mind. She stared at Olivia for a moment before saying, Olivia, don't you ever think about, settling down? Olivia paused. She blinked. Why are you asking me that all of a sudden? Sandra said to her, I mean, we are not getting any younger. Don't you ever feel like maybe we are too strict with ourselves? Look at the way some of these girls are living. They are getting everything on a platter. And we are here working from morning till night, yet nothing seems to change. Olivia looked at Sandra strangely and said to her, Sandra, where is all this coming from? Sandra hesitated and replied, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if we are missing out. Olivia studied her for a moment, then shook her head. Listen, Sandra, I won't lie to you. Sometimes I feel frustrated too. But at the end of the day, we have peace of mind. Do you think of what these girls go through behind closed doors? Some of them don't sleep at night, afraid of the things they have done to get where they are. Sandra sighed. I know. I just feel, left behind. Olivia reached for her hand and said, Don't ever feel that way. Your time will come. When the right man comes, you won't have to sell your soul for love or success. Sandra smiled and said, I hope you are right. But deep down, she wasn't. She wasn't sure anymore. Sandra soon found herself in a situation that shook her to the core. It happened one evening at work. She had just finished a long report and was about to pack up when her boss, Mr. Bayo, called her into his office. Bayo was a powerful man, rich, influential, and feared. He was the kind of man who could make or break careers with a single decision. As Sandra entered his office, he smiled, gesturing for her to sit. Sandra, you're one of the most hardworking employees in this company, he began smoothly. I have been watching you, and I must say, I'm impressed. Sandra felt uneasy and said, Thank you, sir. He leaned back in his chair. Now tell me, Sandra, what do you want out of life? Sandra hesitated and said, I just want to grow in my career and be successful. He smiled and said, Good, and I can make that happen. I can give you everything you want. Money, promotion, and a better life. Sandra felt uncomfortable. She had heard stories like this before. And she said, I appreciate that, sir. But I believe in hard work. I believe in working hard for what I want. Bayo laughed and said, Sandra, let's not pretend. Hard work alone will get you anywhere. Look around you. Do you think those big men's wives got there by working hard? No. They played the game. Sandra replied, Sir, with all due respect, I am not interested. His smile faded. You should think about this carefully. A woman like you could go far if you make the right choices. Sandra stood up and said, I think I've made mine. Bayo's face darkened. Very well, you may leave. As she walked out, her heart pounded. She knew she had just made an enemy, but she also knew she had done the right thing. Sandra's only escape from the stress of work was her best friend Olivia. They had met during their NYSC year and had been inseparable ever since. Olivia was the kind of friend everyone wished for, kind, loyal, and always full of life. She was the exact opposite of Sandra in many ways. Olivia was bold, humble, and carefree. She was beautiful too and deeply rooted in her faith and never swayed by material things. She also never considered shortcuts to success. They loved each other like sisters and always there for each other. That night, Sandra laid in her bed. When she slept off, she had a strange dream. She was walking alone on a deserted road when she saw the old woman from before, standing in the middle of the path. Sandra tried to walk past her, but the woman grabbed her wrist and said, I warned you. The woman whispered, the storm is coming. Sandra jolted awake, her heart racing. The room was dark, silent, except for the sound of her own breathing. She said to herself, why does that woman's word keep haunting me? Unknown to them, evil had already begun its work and the evil had set eyes on them. Now one of the two girls might just be the victim. Sandra and Olivia were among the few women who still held on to their values in a world that seemed determined to corrupt them. Both were virgins, not out of ignorance, but choice. Sandra believed in waiting for the right man, the one who would love her sincerely and honor her purity. Olivia, on the other hand, was conscious. She had seen too many women used and discarded. Neither of them knew that their purity had made them valuable targets. Abuja is a city of hidden battles. Beneath the glamorous nightlife and expensive lifestyle, lurked desperation, deception, and silent predators hunting for their next victim. 6 young men that had already sacrificed an animal at the shrine. Their faces tensed, but the Baba's voice still echoed in their heads. To unlock true wealth, you must bring a pure woman, a virgin. Only the virgin can bring you wealth. There was no turning back. The men studied the city and area like hunters. Abuja was filled with women, but virgins were rare. The men started noticing Sandra and Olivia at that area. It started as a casual meeting, well-planned coincidence. They watched them, learning their routines. They noticed that they were different from other ladies around the area. They were beautiful, humble, and unique. The game had just begun. One evening after closing from work, Sandra was waiting for a taxi when a black Mercedes pulled up beside her. The driver was a handsome, well-dressed man with a warm smile. Hi, you look tired. Can I give you a ride? He said smoothly. No, thank you, Sandra replied. I understand, he said, not pushing. It's not safe for a lady to enter a stranger's car. My name is David. I just moved to this area, looking for a good church. Do you attend any? Sandra's eye lit up. Yes, I do. Divine Light Assembly. David smiled. Wow. I've been looking for a Bible-believing church. Can I join you this Sunday? Sandra felt her guard down. A young, successful man who loved God. Maybe she had judged him too quickly. That Sunday, David showed up in the church, Bible in his hands, worshiping passionately. Sandra was impressed. Slowly, he let him into her world. Meanwhile, another of the 6 men had approached Olivia. His name was Richard, smooth-talking and confident. You are different from most girls in this city, he told Olivia one evening. I admire that. But Olivia wasn't impressed. Something about him felt off. Thanks, she said. Richard chuckled. You don't trust easily, do you? I believe in letting time improve things, she replied. Over the next few weeks, Richard kept trying, but Olivia's instincts screamed danger. She noticed strange things, how he always changed topics when he asked him about his past, how his eyes never held true warmth. One night, Olivia called Sandra and said to her, "Be careful with that David guy," she warned. "I don't trust this Abuja man." Sandra laughed. Olivia, not every man is bad. David is different. He even comes to church. That means nothing, Olivia insisted. Just be careful. Going to church doesn't mean the person is a good person. But Sandra had already fallen. She didn't see the darkness closing in. Weeks later, David continued his art. He was patient, gentle, never rushing Sandra. Then one evening, he looked into her eyes and said, "Sandra, I've never met anyone like you," he said sincerely. "You're hardworking and God-fearing. I want to spend my life with you." Sandra's heart raced. "I know it's too soon," he continued, "but I don't want to lose you. Will you be my girlfriend?" Tears filled Sandra's eyes. She had waited for this moment for so long. "Yes," she whispered. David smiled and they hugged. One of the girls was walking into a deadly trap. Who could that be? Sandra had never felt so loved before. David was everything she had prayed for. Kind, patient, and deeply spiritual. He called her every morning to pray with her, sent her devotional quotes, and always reminded her to trust in God's timing. She felt blessed. Finally, she had found her person. But Sandra had no idea that every moment with David was carefully planned, every word chosen to trap her completely. One evening, David invited Sandra to dinner at a quiet restaurant. The dim light and soft music set the mood as they ate and laughed. Then David leaned closer, his expression suddenly serious. "Sandra, I need to ask you something important," he said, his voice low. "What is it?" Sandra asked. "I know we've not been together for long, but I want us to build something real, a future." Sandra smiled, her heart swelling with hope. "I want that too," she said. David continued, "I have a dream. Sandra, I want to marry a woman who is pure, someone who has kept herself a virgin." Sandra was caught off guard by the topic. David continued watching her reaction closely. "I'm not judging anyone, but I've always dreamed of a wife who is untouched. I feel it brings more blessings into a home. Do you think I'm wrong for wanting that?" Sandra replied, "No, you are not wrong." David then continued, "The world has changed so much, and sometimes I feel like I'm wasting my time hoping for something that doesn't exist anymore. Maybe I'm being unrealistic." Sandra, believing he was being sincere, quickly replied him, "No, David, not every girl has lost herself. Some of us still believe in purity." David leaned forward, his eyes soft. "Sandra, are you saying that you are—" "Yes, I'm a virgin," Sandra replied immediately. David was happy. He had confirmed what he needed to know. He forced himself to look emotional. "Wow, I never thought I would find someone like you. You have no idea how much this means to me." Sandra smiled, feeling proud of herself. She had won his heart even more. Sandra couldn't wait to tell Olivia. Immediately, she got home. She jumped excitedly and said to her, "Olivia, David is serious about me." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "How do you know?" "He wants to marry a virgin, and when I told him I was one, he was so happy. He It was such a deep conversation. A cold chill ran down Olivia's spine. Something was not right. She held Sandra's hand and said to her, "Sandra, listen to me. This man came from nowhere and suddenly he's everything you ever wanted. Don't you find that strange?" Sandra frowned and said, "What do you mean?" Olivia said, "I don't trust him. Everything feels too perfect. It looks like he's playing a role here." Sandra's face darkened and said, "So what are you saying? That I don't deserve a good man? That I should remain single forever?" "Sandra, that's not what I mean," Olivia said. But Sandra snapped. "I've had enough, Olivia. Every time I find happiness, you act like you're not happy for me. Are you jealous because you don't have a man?" Olivia's heart broke. "Sandra, you know that's not true. I'm only trying to protect you." "I don't need your protection. Stay out of my business," Sandra spat before storming off Olivia. Olivia watched her go, feeling helpless. Olivia's sleep was restless. She dreamt seeing Sandra standing in the middle of the road, drenched in blood. Her white dress was torn, her face streaked with tears. She stretched out a trembling hand, her mouth opening to scream, but no sound came. Blood pooled beneath her feet. Olivia gasped awake, her heart pounding violently. Something was terribly wrong. She jumped out of bed, knelt down and began to pray, her lips moving in desperation, whispering, "God, whatever is coming, protect my friend. Show her the truth before it's too late." The fear in her heart refused to fade in. In the morning, Olivia rushed to Sandra. "Sandra, please listen to me," Olivia pleaded. "I had a dream about you. You were bleeding. Something bad is coming. I can feel it." But Sandra laughed and said, "So you are now a prophet?" "Sandra, I am serious. I prayed about it and I feel you should be careful with David." Sandra frowned and said, "You are doing this again. You just don't want me to be happy." "Olivia, admit it. You've never wanted me to have something good." Olivia's chest tightened. "Sandra, that's not true. I love you like a sister. But this whole thing is happening too fast. You don't even know this man properly. Have you prayed about him?" Sandra rolled his eyes. "I don't need to. Not everyone is as paranoid as you. You are just jealous because I'm getting married before you. That's the truth. You think because you're my friend, you should decide who I marry? Who do you think you are?" Sandra hissed, grabbed her bag and stormed off. Olivia sighed heavily, feeling hurt and disappointed, whispering a final prayer. "I have done my part. Only God could intervene now." That evening, David invited Sandra out to a dinner at a fancy restaurant. Midway through their meal, David reached across the table and held Sandra's hands, staring deep into her eyes. "Sandra, I love you," he said. "I've never met someone like you. So pure, kind, different and beautiful. And I don't want to wait anymore." David pulled out a small velvet box, flipped it open and revealed a sparkling diamond ring. "Will you marry me?" Sandra covered her mouth in shock and said, Yes, David, I will marry you." The entire restaurant clapped. They both hugged. Sandra was the happiest woman alive. She rushed home that night, bursting into the apartment. Olivia, I'm engaged." She jumped, flashing the ring. Olivia forced a smile and said, "Wow, congrats." But Olivia felt something was terribly wrong. "Sandra, are you sure about this?" Olivia asked carefully. "This is happening too fast. Have you prayed? Do you know him well enough?" Sandra's smile vanished. "Not you again, Olivia. Just admit it. Just admit that you are jealous." "Sandra, I'm not jealous of you," Olivia shot back. "I just don't want you to regret this. I'm a big girl. I can take care of myself," Sandra replied back. Sandra, I know you're excited, but listen to me. Something isn't right about this man. Sandra laughed bitterly. You are pathetic. Instead of you to be happy for me, you are trying to ruin everything. Olivia sighed, defeated. She had lost her friend. Later that night, Sandra excitedly called her mom in the village. Hello, Mama, how are you? I'm fine, my daughter. This one you are calling me by this time. Hope all is well. Yes, Mama. Mama, I'm getting married, she announced. Her mother was quiet for a moment. Sandra, who is this man? How long have you known him? Where is he from? Have you prayed over this? Sandra frowned. Mama, he's a good man. We've known for 2 months. Stop with all these questions, Mama. Sandra, 2 months? This is too fast. I don't feel comfortable about this. My spirit doesn't accept this. Think about what you're about to do, my daughter. Don't be desperate. I don't want my daughter to marry wrong. Sandra sighed in frustration. Mama, can't you just be happy for me? She hung up on her mother angrily. That night, Sandra's mother had a terrible dream. She saw her daughter running in the dark, covered in blood, screaming for help. The next morning, she called Sandra and told her about the dream and also asked her to pray. Sandra said she is fine and that she should stop worrying. But her mother felt uneasy. That evening, David called Sandra. Hello, babe. Come over, let's celebrate our engagement. Sandra hesitated and said, Is it tonight? Yes, just for a few hours, David responded. Sandra agreed, but she felt odd, like something is wrong. But she waved the feeling and went off. David had prepared everything. The wine was poured. He smiled as Sandra entered, pulling her into a warm embrace. She had no idea that the drink he gave her was drugged. They talked about the wedding preparations, laughed and made plans for their future. Then the drug took effect. Sandra's vision blurred. Her limbs felt heavy. She said, David, what is happening to me? David watched as she collapsed. Immediately, he pulled out his phone and made the call. It is time. Within minutes, his friends arrived. They lifted Sandra's unconscious body and carried her to the car. The journey to the shrine of sacrifice had just begun. The sacrifice is ready. Will Sandra survive that night or die?